my first like honest to goodness like obsession with reading about cars was Jalopnik. Was like when it started. I don't know how I came across it, but within a few months of it starting, I started reading every post, and like
Wow.
this is extremely embarrassing, but for a period of, I will say, several years, I read every single post that went up on the site.
This week on That Car Show, Rory Carroll. Rory, of course, was editor-in-chief at Jalopnik twice. He's also led Auto Week and written for all the best car rags and websites like Road and Track, Car and Driver, and even the New York Times. Rory's got something new to share, and that something is Alloy Mag, which I promise you is the next big thing in automotive journalism. We talk Porsches and project cars, what might be the world's fastest Lada, and why your local retention pond might hold the next big thing in the culinary world. It's That Car Show.
That Car Show is brought to you by Sheffield Watches.
The Sheffield watch brand has a long and storied history, but it was revived a couple years back by our good friend and true car guy, Jay Turkbus. Jay was gifted a Sheffield watch by his parents when he was a kid, and he still has it to this day. Jay wanted to make the same experience available to all of us, a reasonably priced, high-quality watch that endures and that we enjoy sharing with our fellow watch enthusiasts and car people.
From divers watches to watches designed for travel to collaboration with automotive pals like Spike Ferriston and Jay Leno, Sheffield has a watch for you. Find your own Sheffield watch at sheffieldwatches.com and at Sheffield_allsport_watches on Instagram. And let Jay know you heard about Sheffield Watches from That Car Show.
We're also happy to welcome new sponsor Drake Motor Cars to the show. And if you are in the Denver area on Saturday, October 11th, please join us, along with friends from Avance, Cars and Bids, Velocity Restorations, Automobile Rally Hoffenlee, and First Western Trust for the Drake Motor Cars launch party. Saturday, October 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Drake Motor Cars is at 4840 Broadway in Denver, 4840 Broadway in Denver. You can find them online at drakemotorcars.com. It's going to be a good time. There are going to be some cool cars on hand, some good food, good drink, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Welcome back to this week's That Car Show. I'm Lindsay, and I'm here with Ryan. Hi, Ryan.
Good to see you both.
Hi. And this week we have a guest with us, Rory Carroll. Rory and I first met at a Subaru dinner ahead of the LA Auto Show a few years ago. That was a particularly memorable evening for me because not only was it pouring rain in Southern California, but at one point at my end of the table, there was an in-depth discussion about Swan being on restaurant menus. So, it was a fun group. Rory and I got to say hi, and then we've run into each other at events over the years. We're lucky to have several mutual friends in the industry, of course, including the Subaru team and our dear friend of the show, Derek Powell, who tipped us off to Rory's exciting new endeavor, which we're looking forward to learning about. And of course, a big thank you to Derek for the heads up. Rory has held a variety of leadership roles in the automotive industry and written for many of the big names, including the New York Times, Washington Post, Car and Driver, Road and Track, Hagerty, Porsche Panorama Magazine, and Gizmodo, just to name a few. He ran Auto Week and a content studio called 1155. Then he worked at Jalopnik and RM Sotheby's before heading back to Jalopnik and Gizmodo, which ultimately led to the new project that is launching soon, and he's here to tell us all about it. He's joining us tonight from his hometown of Traverse City, Michigan. Welcome, Rory.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me, and thanks as always to Derek.
Yes.
Our angel, what a sweet boy. I
I
love
know.
He's the best.
We love him
always
so
taking care
much.
of me.
Yeah, he is the best. Yeah, he was on the show a few weeks ago, and we just had the best time. And so we're so excited that you're here now.
Yeah.
Such a sweetie.
Yeah, he's my favorite. We send each other the fender pictures all day long. As listeners of the show will not be surprised to hear.
He is always sending me Colt Vista, the captive import.
Sure.
I told him 5 years ago that I really wanted one, and I still really do. And every time he finds a clean one, he sends it to me as if to say, like, when are you actually going to do this? You have to, at some point, own.
I mean, the commitment level is pretty low, right? Like the bar, those can't be expensive, right?
There's like it's like probably the last cheap type of car you could buy.
Yeah,
it's like too ugly for anyone.
Right, yeah.
They're like $3,500. I just need to do it.
And I think Derek excels at sort of like the like with love nudge. Like every now and then he'll just drop like a bring a trailer like Defender or
I
Range
don't
Rover
want this,
Sport.
but you might, right?
Yeah,
He's a total
I saw
enabler.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent me. I will say he sent me one of the big Range Rovers the other day, and it was white with the black top, 2020, and it had a blue interior, which was amazing. And I'm like, I actually really love it. And I told him that, and he said, yeah, and they're really rare. So we'll see. Watch this space.
Love a vintage, not vintage, but new used Range Rover purchase.
Exactly.
They,
Yeah. I feel like that's the only way to go. You gotta let somebody else take the hit.
yeah,
Speaking,
yeah.
speaking of rare, sorry, tell me about the swan that was on the menu because I guess I'm going to the wrong restaurants. What is this a thing?
No, it's not a thing, but people were talking about, different dietary programs, or if you have a dietary restriction and trying to order at a restaurant, and then that kind of devolved into if you go to a restaurant that has like a pre-fee menu, and usually the cuts of meat are specified and you can get whatever, but then they'll have the option to, I think it's supplement. There's a restaurant term, and you can upgrade your cut of meat or you can change it. And so one of the guys said, I'm just going to start asking for swan just to see what they do. Like, just to watch their faces, just with a straight face, as if this is totally normal. I'm just going to say, I'm going to get the blah, 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 but I'd like the swan fillet, medium
What do you
rare,
mean you don't have it?
pepper sauce on the side. And it devolved into this whole thing of like, is there anywhere that they do eat swan? What would it taste like? How much meat do you actually get off of a swan?
It's got to be like a goose, I would imagine.
That's what we were kind of thinking, like kind of gamey, probably some fat in the meat, but swans are so big, you might actually get more yield. It
is
very
kind of a
relevant.
Russian roulette situation though, because like if in the tiny chance that you're at a place and they actually do have the swan, at that point you do have to eat it.
Right,
You're
you
not,
have to commit to the bit. Like,
yeah, you can't be like, oh no, that's just a joke I've been doing for 10 years.
Yeah.
You
right,
have to,
you're like, shoot.
Yeah.
What is it? You have to pay the piper. Like, you're like, man, I got a lot of mileage out of this
You gotta-
joke.
yeah, you got-
now,
We have swan, but only swan tartare.
right.
yeah, yep. You gotta
would
hack
be
its
the
head off
karma.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that probably 15, 20 years ago. I was friends with this German family in Traverse City, and I always used to joke that I loved head cheese, like the gelatin with like the
Right.
meat scraps on it.
With a nice
And,
bite of blood sausage.
Yeah, it was a running gag for a very long time with these people, and then they had family come in from Germany, and they brought all of their favorite head cheese specifically for me,
Wow.
and I was like,
wow.
Well, would
like-
you look at that?
yeah, if it isn't
does that
my
get through
favorite
customs?
food, if it isn't what is very famously my favorite food to eat in front of a group
man.
of people,
You're like,
and they were all
you-
grossed out. It was like, it was
Oh, like they don't
uh,
even eat it.
No, I mean, the people in Germany did, but like all my friends were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're doing that." I was like, "Got to, sorry."
Like,
Yeah.
It's
You're
not
like,
a pleasant
I did this
experience.
for myself.
Yep, that's you're paying. Yeah, you're paying the piper at that point.
Yeah.
Well, next
Got a
time,
lot of
bush
mileage.
meat, new challenge.
Yeah, what is
what's
bushmeat? We've talked. I've heard of that before.
Baboon and kinds of, from like markets where like, diseases like COVID start, I think,
Yeah.
just stuff
Bird
you
Yeah.
probably
flu,
want to stay away from.
Pangolin or whatever. Yeah, I feel like
That's right.
I'm having a weird memory where like I don't know where I came across this, but like at one point I found maybe a catalog where you could order that stuff or like a website. And some friends were talking about ordering like some exotic meats. Maybe we should do that. Maybe next time I'm on, we could do it like a taste.
We all do like a tasting thing. We have like, okay, so first up is the swan.
Yeah, yeah.
Next
Yeah, I'm
up,
very curious about that.
bush meat.
I can go down to my local pond and find that.
I know, right?
I think if I recall my third grade animal report, at least the trumpeter swan is endangered in the States, so I don't think you're supposed to.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that just as
careful
well.
with
I like the animals. I'm a friend of the animals. I'm not. Yeah. I'm all talk. Don't worry. Anyway,
You don't have to worry.
cars.
The swan
Yeah.
population of Denver can relax for the moment.
Yeah,
That's right.
So like, really, they only have to worry when we're recording in person and we
Right.
can enjoy the swan together. So
Right.
Yeah.
We're on
That's
video.
okay.
You got to, prove what you're.
I know. But yeah, should we get back to cars?
yeah. Sorry, that'll happen with
That was
me.
my fault.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
that's-
what's your fault? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, what's your car story? Like, how'd you get into this whole
That's a
hustle?
good question. Like I don't come from a car family. I think like I was really surprised to figure out, like once I got into the business, how many people were like, "Oh, my dad was super into cars," or "I had an uncle," or
Mm.
whatever. And it's like my dad had a couple Miatas, but was not
Mm,
really like a car person. He had maybe a Jeep Wrangler, but like, was not like a hardcore enthusiast. In fact, was like extremely cheap and would always tell me like, "This is the worst thing you can do with your money. Like, don't do this." Like, and I remember I tried to buy when I was 16 a 60 Chrysler Imperial because I was like, this would be a
Oh
great daily
wow,
driver for me, a 16-year-old.
yeah,
it's a lot
And
of
he
solid
was
fun.
choice.
like, no. He was like, absolutely not. That's stupid. Don't do that.
You want something you can drive every day that's reliable.
Yeah. I mean, it would not have been the most unreliable car I've ever daily driven, I don't think.
Sounds
But
like there's a story there.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
what
mean, I've
appealed
driven
to
some
you about
real.
that? Just-
I don't I think like prior to 2015, I had owned one car that was newer than like 30 years old.
Okay,
I just I don't vibe with the new stuff as
okay.
much.
I love it.
But I don't know. So I guess I kind of got into it um, by fixing cars, and I think like had kind of like a formative experience, like getting my first like fast internet connection and getting on like VW Vortex and like getting
Mm.
into like water cooled Volkswagens in college. And then like just kept buying cars that I couldn't afford to take to a mechanic and like learning wrench and like one thing led to another. And then it took a long time. I worked in a bunch of other shitty jobs that I kind of hated for like a decade ish.
Mm.
Before I found a job at Haggerty I was actually their lobbyist, and then
I
Really?
saw that.
did a
It's fascinating.
bunch of other weird stuff. Did a bunch of other stuff there, and then started writing, and that was like, oh, okay, like shit. I wish I would have known
Right.
that this was a job
You're like the whole
back when I
time?
was. Yeah, it's like I guess someone does have to write all the articles in the magazines that I
Yeah.
read, and I guess they probably get paid.
Yeah.
That was
But
pre-chat
yeah,
GPT, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
I
a
was gonna say,
reasonable.
yeah,
that
right.
was a
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
doesn't apply now, of course. That's
Right.
not how it works
Mm.
now. But yeah, that's kind of it. It was a weird journey, and I think like I don't know. There's parts of it again, like I wish I would have started earlier on it, but it's like I feel like I had a good like well of experience to draw from when I finally like did start writing, where it's like I did this as an amateur, as a hobbyist
Yeah.
for a long time, like before I got to go on press trips and like drive fast stuff and learn what I was actually supposed to be doing and all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
guess that's the story roughly.
Well, and you have a really unique and I would say very personal fleet. So I'm curious,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
can you kind of walk us through what you have right now and like
Yeah.
how you came to have the collection that you have?
Yeah, so it's funny to call it a collection. It's like that's not it's not how I look at it. Like like you go see a collection, you're like, wow, this is a collection of cards. This is just stuff
Quite
that I've
curated.
failed to get rid of over years, over the years. Yeah.
We can all
Um,
relate to that.
Yeah. Coin a term for
yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I have my daily is a Rivian R1S
Nice.
that I had to try EV. I had to try and like a new car. Like every 10 years or so I have to try a new car and see that it's not for me.
Remind
Um
yourself that you don't like them.
yeah, yeah, it's a great, I mean it's awesome. Like it's an
Yeah.
incredible machine, but it's just
Right.
it connects to my
Not your
phone.
thing.
Just like
Yeah.
yeah. But I've got that. My wife has a 15 GTI that she bought
Nice.
new and will not get
Nice.
rid of. Manual. She's like, that's like we've talked about kind of upgrading it. It's like been the kid mobile for a long time, and it's like showing some wear, but
Mm,
there's really so few options that are manual.
Yeah.
right.
And that's kind of like the hang up is like,
Yeah.
what else would you get? And also like Mark Sevens are awesome. I think like a future
That was the best
collectible.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're awesome. It's my third or fourth GTI, and
Mm.
the Mark 7 is like astonishing. Such a
That's
good
where it's
car.
at.
Um,
Yeah,
then I
that's
have
it's
a
really tough if you want a good manual option. I mean, we talk
this
about
really
that
yeah
all the time. Like the the offerings are so slim, if
yeah
at all.
yeah, and it's like dog in the back, kids in the back, like, you know, that thins it out even more. It's like takes kind of the BRZ Miata out of it, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, it gets tough. Then I have an old 911 that I bought when I was 23, back when they were like cheap. It was like, this is the most 2006 story in the world, but I was like, also date myself a little bit. But I was driving. I actually had bought a Mark V GTI, a brand new one, and I was like, I hate this fucking car, which is it's stupid. That's a wonderful car, but it was too new, and it was like, this is too nice. And I was driving around and saw this old 911, and I stopped. It was at a repair shop, and I was like, who owns this car? This is like, I live in a small town, so it's like you don't see stuff like this all the time. And I was like, who's this belong to? And I found the guy and went to his house, just showed up at his house. And I was like, hey, is it black 911 yours? And he was like, yeah. He's like, you're in luck because I've got 5 of these, and my wife said I have to sell one of them this month. And I was like, he's like, this is the worst one. And I was like, I'll take it. Like, perfect.
Like, I'm your man.
Yeah. So I went to the bank, and I was like 20, whatever. I was in my early 20s, and I had had been duped into buying a house. So I had a mortgage, and then I had the payment on the GTI, and I walked in there, and the guy was like, we don't loan money on cars that are older than however, whatever, 20 years or whatever. And I was like, what if I can show you like how much it's worth? Like what the value for it. And he's like, yeah. Yeah. So I like went to Haggerty and got like whatever their Haggerty value guide was. And I brought it back, and he was like, man, he's like, I really shouldn't be doing this. And he's like, your credit picture is really bad. Cause I had the mortgage, the car payment. I had never had a credit card. I had no credit history whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he was like, you gonna pay me back on this? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he was like, all right. He's like, I know your family, you're good. And he like just gave me a check like off of his desk. And it was like, this is why like the financial crisis happened. I think like that type of underwriting where he's like, yeah, just like, yeah, it's fine. And it was. I never missed the payment.
You have a good face.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Never missed the payment. Never had a late payment on it. And it had the car. I daily drove it for a long time. Drove it in the winter.
Really?
Drove it all the time. And because it was like, at the time, it was like a cheap sports car. It was like whatever, 14 grand.
Yeah.
And then put it up like 8 years ago to start a like sympathetic restoration, and have just been like touching it. Okay, I had like a weird mental block about it for years. Like, we can get deep, and I had like some kind of psychological block where it's like I would work on anything else, and like I worked on cars all, like I built that Lada that we can talk about in a second. I built it twice in the span of me having the 911. I built it from scratch twice.
Let's talk about
that. Were you just like, la la?
Yeah. Did you think you didn't deserve it or something? Let's go deep. Like, what's this
I
all
don't
about?
know. It's something I think about a lot, because it was a daily driver. And so it's not a car that was super precious to me, and it's not in good enough condition to be super precious to anybody. But I think, like, honestly, I think there was like a period where I was so kind of annoyed at the air-cooled 911 thing. Do you guys have air-cooled 911s before I say this?
No, I don't. But it became a thing.
Okay, it became a thing,
Yeah.
and it was like a man of my age, like it was kind of like the default cool thing to do is to buy an air-cooled 911, and it's like it was like I just can't, like, I didn't want to be a 911 guy. I didn't want to get rid of it because I knew that this like trend would kind of pass and go by.
Yeah.
But it was like, and it wasn't like, oh, I don't want to be that guy, so I'm not working on it. But what it was is that every other thing that came across the transom was like more interesting to me. So it was like I got an old Willys, which I still have, and it was like, oh, that'll be my old car. You know what I mean? Like, so the 911 kind of sat, and it's like I went through spurts of like really basically like people giving me a hard time about it, being like, you have a really good old 911, like you should be driving this car, which I agree with. Like, that's insane to not drive that car.
It happens though.
Yeah, but it was like, again, and it was so strange because you know everybody has seen those like YouTube shows or whatever where it's like there's some old guy and like in the back corner of his garage there's like a De Tomaso Pantera or whatever, and you're like, how are you not drive?
Right.
Like, what's wrong with you? Like, there's some,
Yeah.
and it's like I would always be like, yeah, what is wrong with that? Oh, wait a second, like,
You're like,
that's
I'll just-
also yeah, that's also exactly what I'm doing right now.
But I think it's one of those things too. Like, I think we've all driven by those houses where you can tell there was a car that like is in the front yard or it's wherever.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I always see it and I go, what was the story? Like, what was the tipping point where the car was set there? Nobody probably anticipated that it would still be here 10 years from now, but like, how did this unfold? And, you know, like same thing where you're like, sir, how did the De Tomaso Pantera get stuck in the corner and never brought back out?
And that was me. It
He
was
didn't
me.
want to be he didn't want to be that guy. Just
Again, it was not like I was so annoyed by the idea. It was just like every other thing was just a better distraction. You know, it's like it was, and really like I think like driving that 48 Willys around Detroit was like one of the best times of my life. Like it was like an awesome car to rip around the city, and like
yeah, what an experience. And you were probably the only one, I'm assuming.
It was awesome. It was so cool because everybody would like, it's like, it was a farm truck. So it was like, it's totally original, never been painted. And it's like, it is mostly rust or like very heavily patinaed paint. But it was like, you could leave it anywhere because no one could figure out how to start it. It's like a floor push button starter. Like you just leave the keys in it wherever you want. You can park it anywhere. And it was like, it was super reliable. And it was like, yeah, it was open, no seatbelts, no anything in it. It was a phenomenal. I drove that car, and I think I was probably driving that car like 2,500 miles a year.
Wow.
Like, and I lived 2 miles from my office. It was like I put a ton of miles on that thing. It was so fun.
You were enjoying it. Well, people laugh about like a manual transmission being an anti-theft device, and you're like, I'll do you one better.
That's a hell of a flex. Rory.
Yeah, it's like if you can steal this car, you literally deserve it. Go ahead. Like it is. Yeah, it's yours.
I will applaud the effort and send you off with a fanfare if you can accomplish.
Yeah, and I'll find it. Eventually, I'll find it.
Right.
Do you like living in Detroit? Because I think a lot of people listening have probably never been to Detroit. They have a certain sort of idea of what Detroit is.
Yeah,
I think Detroit's a really neat place, but there's no other town like Detroit, is there?
No, it is the best place that I've ever lived, and I think like it is a place that has like a lot of big city character, obviously, but a lot of like big city, like, you know, there's sports, there's, you know, Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL downtown, hockey, great restaurant scene, great music scene. Like, you know, the awesome thing that I loved about Detroit is like you could just go to a club any night of the week and see a band that you knew or like that you wanted to see or like that you were excited about, and like just show up. And like the same for sports. Like it was just easy to live there. You can drive. You don't really have to know anything special. Like there's not a lot of like being in New York, wonderful place. I would, you know, I love being in New York. I spent a ton of time there last year. But you have to know some tricks to get around. Like you have to like know how to navigate a little bit. And like Detroit's like, it's exactly the way that you think it is. It's very user friendly. And it's also like, I mean, it's getting more expensive. It's gotten more expensive in the last, certainly since we left. But I think like it's a place where you can kind of, as a younger person, live kind of a version of the American dream that we're all, you know, it's like home ownership. You want to start a business. You want to like be active in your community and like have friends in a third place and all that stuff. Like that's Detroit. Like, and that's, I really love that about it. It was like, I had a bunch of friends who were entrepreneurs trying stuff out, and like, you know, some of the ideas were better than others. And so some of them worked and some of them didn't, but like, that was fun. It was like, yeah, let's do this together. Let's figure this out. And I think like, you know, you can still buy a decent home in Detroit on a normal wage, which is like tough to say for most places in the United States.
Sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved it. I mean, I would move back in a heartbeat. I think, I recommend it very highly to anybody who's thinking about like, how do I take the next step, you know, like I said, you want to buy a house, you want to start a business, like it's a great place to do it. And there's tons of support. It's a really fun, welcoming community. Like it's a really good time.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds amazing. So we're all moving to Detroit next week. It sounds like you have painted quite
I
a
mean,
bit.
I
it
can't
sounds
recommend it highly
amazing.
enough. I get you set up. It's so fun. And it's like, again, it's like because of all that stuff, there's so much good creative energy. So there's like good shows, it's a good art scene. Like, like you can afford to try things and do things in Detroit that you can't afford to do in other major cities. And I think and it's also got some juice. Like there's a lot of like big Midwest cities that are like kind of cool, but like just don't have the juice. But like Detroit still has like a little bit of something to it. Like people are coming to town, you know what I mean? Like for reasons, not just because they're stuck there because their flight got delayed or whatever. Like people go to Detroit for things. So it's, I don't know. I dig it. I'm a huge fan. Yeah. I'm a huge fan.
That's awesome. Well, so, okay. So I know so we talked about the Willies, but then I want to hear about probably the member of your fleet that is the nearest and dearest to my heart is the 95 F-150. So I would love to hear the story of that.
So actually that car lived in Denver. I don't know, Ryan, do you know a brewery called OMF, Our Mutual Friend?
I don't.
Oh, how cute.
Okay.
Sounds like
great brewery.
I do need to know them though. Yeah. Huh.
Really great. Yeah. I mean, some of the best beer I've ever had in my entire life.
Really? Okay.
Really, really fun. But a couple buddies own it. And Jan was using it as his daily driver, but also like to haul kegs. And I think it was owned by like a mining company at one point because it's that teal color, like the super teal.
Which was so of the era. Like you see that on
maybe
Broncos
the
every so often.
Service or something. Yeah. Awesome.
It's like the Forest Service was like a little I think I prefer the Forest Service. That was a little bit more like seafoamy, like it's a little bit more
and it's
matte.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. And this is like this is a metallic teal color. I mean it's like it is very Alan Jackson video. Very teal.
There was a Bronco, like 95, there was a Bronco color scheme, and it was that teal and white. And like with the white on it, it made the teal even more teal. And you're just like, yes.
Yeah. There's one of those running around Traverse City that every time I see him, I'm like, ooh, that guy's got it going, man.
Right.
You better check the seat cushions of this thing. If it was owned by a mining company in Colorado, I mean, the price of gold is way up.
Right.
You never know what you might find.
I actually did find a knife in the seat cushions.
Really? That knife had killed a man.
Yeah.
That's how real that
bloody.
truck is.
Yeah.
You're like, I feel like I should turn this in something.
Yeah, just hit it with some brake cleaning. But yeah.
Call the day.
So Jan was using it, and then he had a baby, and it was a 2-door, and I was like, hey, if you're going to sell the truck, and he obviously decided to sell it. And I had previously gone to Denver with a buddy. This is an entirely different weird story, but he showed up with
here.
6. Yeah, he was like, years ago, I was dating my wife. She was in law school in Denver, and my buddy was like, we should go out to Colorado and buy a pickup truck for, to take it back to Michigan, like a clean, dry pickup.
Sure.
And so he figured out you could carry $6,000 in cash on an airplane back then. So he brought $6,000, and then I had sent him a bunch of Craigslist links, like go, like make a deal before we get there, so that we're not standing here like, with $6,000 in our hand, which he obviously did
burning
not
a
do.
hole in your pocket.
Yeah. So we made like 20 appointments to go see trucks, and like finally ended up in, I forgot what town it was. It was some little tiny town. Met this incredibly weird guy named Rock Fuller, who was like a sculptor, and he had all these little sculptures of like little aliens that he made out of junk metal, but they were all like, I don't want to say anatomically correct because I don't know exactly they were
humanoid-ish.
They were endowed. They had some parts.
Wow.
And I'm imagining they were beings he'd met on his travels, maybe.
I don't know. He was a strange fella. I would say like kind of like you kind of like the guy you aspire to be, where it's like you are crazy obviously, in a very pleasant way. Like this is like not unfun
Like,
to be around you.
Who you want to buy a truck
charmingly,
from?
adorably crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, and even the sculptures, even though they were kind of weird, it was like, this is nice. Good for you. You got a thing going.
You
It's like,
found
this is
your
not
niche, sir.
Yeah,
We love
yeah.
this
It's like,
for you.
it's fine. You're up here in the mountains.
Well,
The
did you
kids
buy a
aren't seeing
sculpture
these.
too, or
Yeah,
or
no,
is
I
this-
should have.
Yeah.
I
They
know
bought
I
the
have
truck
his
so
address.
they could
still,
take the
actually.
sculpture home.
Yeah, but so we ended up buying this truck that was like it was owned by this guy who bought it when he retired, and then immediately had a heart attack and died, and his widow put it in left it in the garage, and it was like had like 67 miles on it. Was like
Oh no!
it was absolutely like a vehicle cast for like No Country for Old Men, where they had all those like hyper accessorized 80s pickups, but like had the light bar, had the bull bar, had orange. It was silver with orange and red hockey stripes, red interior, wood grain, had everything on it.
Oh
And it was
my
like,
gosh.
I was like, we're buying this car. Like
Right.
we did the thing where we're like, yeah, we'll think about it. And we like went down the block and just stood there. And I was like, we're buying this thing. Like, we bought it cash and drove it back. It was 5-speed, 4-wheel drive. I mean, just like everything.
Wow!
Perfect.
And it was an F-150.
Yeah. F-150, single cab, short bed. I mean, just like exactly the truck that you would want.
It sounds
but-
incredible. I think we need to
Yeah, it
find
was so good. Yeah, well, I know where it is. It is in. It's been living in Michigan, so it's completely ruined now. But I remember like crawling
have
underneath
people
it
for
to
that.
like, it would be an endeavor. But
I imagine, yeah.
yeah, but so we did that, and then exactly 10 years later, we drove this green truck home in the same way, which was we drive it straight through. Drove it. It's like 19 hours to Traverse City. Really nice. One of my absolute favorite things to do is just like do too long of a road trip. Like
You get a
By,
little
like,
funny
6
toward
hours
the
for
end.
you.
Slightly, yeah.
yeah. Like
You
this
start
is not
seeing
this
some
smart.
well-endowed aliens, and you're like, oh,
Yeah. Is that a real alien?
and yeah, that sculptor guy has moved.
Yeah. All right,
That's
good for
awesome.
you.
That's
Solid workout
awesome.
here.
Right.
Shoot.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I use it as a truck. It's like
Yeah.
it sits in the barn in the winter. I don't drive it in the winter, but in the summer it moves, like trees or moves gravel and all kinds of like move tires, and like it's a truck in the summertime, which is like I was trying to explain to somebody. They were like suggesting I get a new pickup truck, and I was like, I don't know if I could drive a new pickup because it's like I need to harm the truck. I would feel if it's a new thing that I'm making a payment on, I would feel really like hesitant to use it in the way that I do.
You need it to
But
be
yeah.
not precious, because then it has the utility. Because you go get something really nice, and it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
I think about that. Like, I have an F-150 that's my daily, and I went to an off-road event last spring, and I was going to take the truck, and I ended up getting to take Subaru loaned me a car to take, and later I was so glad because I'm like, I didn't really want to scratch up the truck, and it's not a new truck, but it's still in really good shape. And
Yep.
it changes
Sure.
how you use it. Like, you're hesitant to throw a bunch of gravel in the back if it's still in good shape.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice to have a car that you can like chuck a car battery into. It's like
Without thinking
that is
about it.
That's a very freeing experience. That's a very very nice thing. Like like you said, like the utility of that, and like the utility of like there's a picture I took this summer where I literally I cut down a bunch of trees, and I piled it so full of trees that you could no longer see the truck, and I had to like crawl around the other door and like kind of halfway climb in the window to drive it. And I was like, this is good. This is
That's what we
living.
call maximum truck. That's amazing.
Yeah, we're living at this point.
Oh man, stuff, Rory.
Yeah. You
That's
get up
awesome.
to like you have to get the blood flowing every now and again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Get the
Well, and
chainsaw
I
out.
think when you have a new one, like there's that one thing that kind of like breaks the seal, and you're like, well, now it's official. Like mine has a ding in the back tailgate where like a stump was used to pull a stump, and the chain, it went a little
Ooh,
more quickly than anticipated.
ooh, we hate
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's a tough one.
But then it was
I've
like,
had that
okay, but
happen.
now it's official. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Now you can fill it with trees or
yeah,
gravel.
now like we're not worried about it anymore.
You can just destroy it. Yeah,
Yeah, game
Let,
on. Yeah.
yeah,
let's change topics a little bit and talk about car journalism, automotive journalism, and sort of the state of automotive journalism in
yeah.
2025. I don't know if you were one of those kids like me, and I think Lindsay, who like couldn't wait for like the new Car and Driver to show up in the mailbox or the Road and Track, whatever. Were you one of those kids? And if so, what was your poison? And who did you read growing up?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like it was the later onset thing for me, and I
Yeah.
think like I certainly would like buy DuPont registry at the grocery store and like just look at the ads. It was like very important to me as a 12-year-old to know like how much a Dodge Viper costs. I remember like flipping to the Vipers and being like, all right, okay, 70 grand. All right, maybe save some pennies or whatever. And
You
then
wanted
like
to
I
have a
would buy.
handle on the Viper market as a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that was what it was. It was like I just needed to know how much they were because someday.
400 horsepower. I mean,
Yeah,
mind blowing.
yeah, it was
That's
crazy.
why.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing him at the Detroit Auto Show and being like at the time, like nothing looked like that car. Like it was so insane looking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would buy like a Road and Track or pick up a Car and Driver if I was at the store and saw a car I liked on the cover or whatever. But my first like honest to goodness like obsession with reading about cars was Jalopnik. Was like when it started. I don't know how I came across it. But within a few months of it starting, I started reading every post, and like,
Wow.
this is extremely embarrassing, but for a period of, I will say several years, I read every single post that went up on the site. Like, and if I was traveling, cause I didn't have a phone or a computer,
Sure.
if I was out of town, I would go back like to the day that I left and go back and catch up and reread all the posts. And that was like, massively influential as far as like to me it was like finding a group of people who liked cars in the way that I liked cars, where it's like like a little bit more esoteric and a little bit more about like story and a little bit more about like the context of the car than like the raw
Like the
specs and
specs. Yeah.
yeah, 0 to 60 stuff, which is like, don't get me wrong. I did memorize a lot of car specs back when I was younger. I had this book called like 50 Years of Classic Cars. And I remember like, I've never been a studier, never been a much of a student. I was not into that. But I remember like making tables like by hand and memorizing specs for the cars. And it was like,
Because you were interested in it.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
you wanted to do that. Yeah, that's the difference.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how you know
it
you
took-
found your place or your thing or your people. Is this where you do it without thinking about it, and then you look back and you're like, I was making tables.
That was a lot
for
of
what?
work. Yeah. It's more work than I ever put into school probably in my entire
Yeah.
life.
Hey,
I was
you're in good
memorizing
company.
all of Jalopnik.
Yeah.
I reached the end of
Yeah.
the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
amazing.
that's how I got into it. I think like,
Yeah.
those guys also too, like, I think that early group, Spinelli, Johnny, Davey, Bumback, and Phil, like those guys, for whatever reason, read as cool to me in a way that like the other car journalists never did.
Yeah.
Like especially like in that era of like the early 2000s, it was like those guys just seemed like like guys that I would want to hang out with, and it turns out like they are, like, as now that I know them all, they are guys that I like to hang out with. Like I was 100% correct.
Isn't that
had
wild?
some of
Where
the
you're
best-
like, and now
best
we're
hangs.
friends. And
Yeah. That was right. They're
Yeah.
good guys. They actually, those guys, Phil and Johnny, talked me into buying that stupid Lada that I still have. That was their idea.
So we can
when
blame or thank them or both.
I would, at this point, we're blaming them. I think like
All
this
right.
has been a near 20-year ordeal of me owning a Soviet car.
Ooh. All right.
We have to
Even though you
talk
heard it
about this
here.
because you don't just stumble
He
into a
knows what he
Lada.
did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where'd you find this thing?
Yeah, it was a nice Pricer crack pipe car on Jalopnik, and
Okay.
you know that's a joke. Like that's like never,
Yeah,
no one
yeah.
would buy the crack
It's a
pipe
great
car.
joke. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was Project Car Hell. It's actually the.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's even worse. It was like this is. It was like this or a Dodge Power Wagon, and I was like, fuck it. Like, called the people in Canada who had the Craigslist ad for the Seafoam Lada, and I was like, "Would you take $500 for it?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, absolutely." Like,
Like, we'll even deliver it for free, sir. Where'd you say you are?
would you have taken $50 for it? And it was in Canada. It was too new to import, so I told them it was going to be. I told the border people it was going to be a race car and never registered for the street, which got me detained
Amazing.
for a really long time at Customs and Border Patrol. They did not believe that story.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Didn't believe
were-
that story. That's
No, and I had done a bunch of research and like looked up
Yeah.
the law, and like that's how I had the cover of a race car, and they tore the whole thing apart, and they were like, "You are," like. To them, looking at the Lada, I could see where it didn't seem plausible that it was actually going to be a race car. You know, like, yeah, okay, fair enough.
They're like, this guy
like,
knows
it
nothing about cars. What's going on?
yeah, it doesn't look like a race car.
wow.
Race
Car is subjective.
Ran it in
Rory.
lemons.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you guys don't know what lemons is. Anything can be a race car, as it turns out.
Right.
You're like, allow me
But
to
yeah,
dazzle
so-
you.
Yeah. Let me show you some Jalopnik articles.
Right.
But yeah, so I ran it in lemons and then twice, and then tried to give it away to Camille from Hooniverse, and he had it for a number of years, and then finally called me and was like, "Hey, this car's never running again while I have it. Like, we're never going to get to it. Do you want it back?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Well, it's probably going to go to scrap." And I was like, "Okay, I'll." So Brad Brownell.
Yeah.
From
he's
Jalopnik, and
One of the founders of Radwood too. We had
In
Art
Radwood,
on the
yeah.
show. Yeah.
he was like, "I'm doing Radwood in Chicago, so I'll be in your neck of the woods, 6 hours away. I'll just run out to Boston and get it, and then deliver it to your house," which is like so much driving to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a.
That's a wild just pop in.
It's
We have
really
different
like a
definitions
cross
for-
country's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he went and got it. He had that huge ambulance, and he like towed it here on a U-Haul trailer.
Oh wow.
And then, long story short, I was like, I'm gonna K-swap it. And then I was like, if I K-swap it, I should put an independent rear in it. And if I put an independent rear in it, I might as well match the front and the back so that it's the same thing for handling purposes. There's like a hill climb up here, and it was like, anyway, it snowballed into like this stratosphere. I have more money into the Lada than I have ever put into a car. I will say that.
Wow.
And
I
it's
feel like- yeah.
so it's Lada body with like integrated cage into the subframes. So it's Subaru BRZ front and rear subframes bolt into the cage, which is awesome. You can just drop the entire subframe with 2 bolts.
Wow.
And then
That's handy.
it's great. And then it's a K24 K24A2 that I got from eBay that thankfully runs. It's like I built the whole car, and then I didn't fire it until like a week before the race, and it was like I had no idea where the motor came from, what it was doing for the last since it had been out of a car, and thankfully it worked fine. Didn't work great, honestly, the first time we had it out, but it worked, and then it runs awesome now. It's like, I mean, it's really incredibly lightweight, and it's there's nothing in it. It's like it was like a utter nightmare getting everything to fit, and then I had Thompson Racing Fabrication built the cage up here, which actually I took the old cage out of the Lada that I built for Lemons, and it was like so sketchy. It was like, I cannot believe I did 2 lemons races in this cage. Like, it seemed fine when I was in my 20s, but it's like, it's so horrifying anyway.
You look at it and you're like, I felt good about this at the time. I
You
felt
got more to
confident.
lose now. Yeah.
It would have, I honestly think that the cage that we built was more dangerous than going without a cage. Like, there were so many places where it's like, just tubing that could have impaled me somehow.
Yeah.
It would have been,
Really?
the cage would have killed you instead of.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the Lada. It is a super fun car. I'm super proud of like figuring out how to do all that stuff. Like, it was like,
Sure.
no one's ever done it, obviously, so there's no like reference to look at.
Right.
But yeah, and now it's fun. It's like super fast. I shouldn't say super fast. It's fast enough.
Sure.
Fast
and
for a Lada, maybe?
It's probably one of the faster Ladas out there.
I'm sure that's.
There's a guy in Miami who has a 2JZ powered Lada, which I feel like is almost certainly faster. But
I think we need to do like a head-to-head Lada edition.
I would love to get in contact. I would
Make it happen.
love to do that. Yeah.
There are enthusiasts, and then there are enthusiasts like yourself. I mean,
Yeah.
that's dedication to the craft.
Yeah, it was. Built it in, I think, like a year and a half. And it was also like one of those things where I think at a certain point it's like you don't progress in your ability to do stuff unless you do something that you don't know how to do.
Sure.
And it's like my ability to like weld and think through bigger problems, and like build parts and structural parts of a car, that like taught me so much about how cars are built, but also like how, like, what makes cars handle, what makes cars behave in a certain way. And it was like, I was at a point, I think, like wrenching wise, where it's like I was close enough to being able to do it. And it was like, really glad. I don't know that I'd build a car from scratch again by myself.
Yeah. That's an
But
endeavor.
I know I can't. Yeah. It's like, maybe it's, I don't know. I like, now that I said that out loud, I'm like, there's like, I would actually absolutely do that again if I
I'd like
could
to
make the
revise
time.
my answer immediately.
Yeah, like, no, I will probably end up doing that again. No,
But if you can do it with a friend too, you're right. Like that's it's more approachable. Like your 911 might get done.
yeah. That's, I mean, the real thing is like, I have to just go out there and finish it. I have made a ton. I got it running for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Made some big progress. But anyway, we were talking about automotive media. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean,
digression.
I think this is good evidence of kind of where you're coming from, and I mean, you're the real deal if you're doing some shit like that. I mean, that's incredible. And so, and you were the editor at Jalopnik twice.
Yeah.
You've written for New York Times. You've written for what else was on the list, Lindsay? It was a whole.
Here, I
it
can
was
go
quite
back
the
to my
litany of,
list.
I'm glad you have the list, because
impressive
I was like,
Right?
it took me a long
New York
time.
Times.
Yeah.
Right.
You
The
know.
Washington Post, Car Driver, Road and Track, Haggerty, Porsche Panorama, and Gizmodo, and of course Auto. Did you write for Auto Week? I know you ran the outlet.
Yeah,
and
I started there as a web editor under Davey, actually.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that was something I was going to ask you, and it leads into obviously the ultimate reason that we're here.
Yeah.
But you have obviously written for many of these outlets. You've freelanced, you've been full time, and then you've been in leadership roles. And like, what was that like going from writing into leadership in the automotive industry and kind of at these outlets where you'd been a writer? And did you continue writing while you were running them? Like, what was that path like?
Yeah, I mean, you do write a lot less, but I tried to keep doing it just because I think it's an important skill, and you have to keep that muscle active or whatever. But
Right.
I think when I got to Auto Week, I knew right away that I wanted to run Auto Week, because it was like such a cool story, such a cool publication, and like there was so much potential in the brand where it was like, and I dearly love the people who I worked with and like my boss and everything, but it was like, if there's an opportunity, if he retires or moves on or something, like I told the Cranes early on, like, this is what I want to do, is run this book. And like, it was like a crazy opportunity that, I'd done a lot of good stuff there, I think. And like, I had really helped kind of shape the business and sell a lot and kind of grow the business. And did all the stuff that like led them to believe that I was able to run it. But I think I was like 32 or something when I took it over. It was like maybe 33. So it was like really had no business, on paper doing it. But
Right.
I was, we had a great time. We completely redesigned the entire brand from top to bottom. Got it profitable. It had not been profitable in a super long time. And did a lot of really cool stuff. And we ended up selling it to Hearst, who owns it now. But it was like when I think about as well as it could go at the time. And
Yeah, it sounds
it
like
was like a great learning experience. I mean, what a cool thing to be like handed this 62-year-old brand that like meant so much to so many people.
Right.
And like the people that you get to meet and talk to, like, I remember getting like a fan letter from Alex Idias, the old hot rodder guy. And I was like, this is the most surreal. He liked a column that I read or wrote,
kidding.
and they sent me a handwritten letter. I was like, this is, freaked me out. But it was like,
I hope you framed it.
yeah, I've still got it for sure. It's,
awesome.
but it was like, it was like an old man scrawl with a Sharpie marker, like each letter was an inch tall. It was like,
Yeah. You're like, okay, I'm gonna hold it out.
Ransom letter or something.
Yeah. Well, at first I was like, oh, this guy's mad. Like just by looking at it.
Why are you yelling, sir?
Yeah.
It's the analog version of all caps.
Yeah.
That's
It's like maybe he just can't see as well.
Sure.
But yeah, it was super cool. I think like the Jalopnik thing too is one of those opportunities. Like obviously, like I said, I grew up loving Jalopnik. I actually got offered that job pretty shortly after selling Auto Week, after Crane sold Auto Week, and I turned it down because I'd been hearing some things about the ownership, and I had a bunch of conversations with some friends who were like close to it, and they were like, "Yeah, this is tough, tough situation." And then I ended up getting on a call with Jason and David Torchinsky and David Tracy.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, we feel like they're going to hire somebody who does not get what Jalopnik is. And they're like, it is a tough situation right now, but like, we would really love it if you would take this and like just do it for a couple years so that it doesn't get ruined. And like,
right.
Which is a tough position to be in because it's like, you go from Auto Week where it was like, total free for all, like you do whatever you want, you hire whoever you want, like this is your thing, to like, okay, let's try to keep this thing alive during this period, which like
Definitely a different challenge,
different vibe. Yeah, it's like a different challenge. It ended up it's like the people, and this is, we can get into this too, but I think like the company that owned Jalopnik was a private equity company, and they have a 3 to 5 year time frame where they need to own the company, make a return, and sell the company. And like, we're at Auto Week, it's like you're looking for how do you build a brand that people are going to be in love with for 20 years, and like you got all these return customers, and like people like this brand means something to them or whatever. And it's like just because of the nature of private equity and these kind of shorter term ownership, it's like they are fundamentally in a different mindset, different business. They don't care what happens 20 years from now. And it's like, it's like there's a Nietzsche quote about like, you can't blame the hawk for eating the rabbit. Like the hawk eats the rabbit. Like that's what it does. It's like, and that's what private equity, it's like, it's like, that's the system. It's, I don't love it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can't blame Lindsay from ordering the Swan. Right. She does. Every time we go to a restaurant, she orders the Swan.
That's what I do.
I don't love it. It's annoying, but she does it every time. So
what are you going to do, guys?
Yeah.
We all have our own lanes. This is mine.
Yeah. So
what a position to be in though. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. It was really interesting. I think like, probably one of the most, honestly, really rewarding. I got to do a bunch of cool stuff, and I got to be in New York all the time, which was great. And then got to help out with Gizmodo too. Had like the most incredible staff at Gizmodo. It had the people who are now running it were like really, really smart and like have like absolutely blown up Gizmodo and its like new iteration. It's like I think they're up like 400% in audience. Like they're making money. Like it's a really great story.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like it was a different challenge, but it was fun. And also like at Jalopnik, it's like at the end of the day, you do kind of get to write whatever you want. So it's like like that part of it was very satisfying. And I got to edit some cool
pros
stuff.
and cons.
Yeah. I mean, it was a different deal, but and it also like I am very proud of the fact that it survived. Like,
Right.
made it through.
And
Like, it
thrived,
didn't have
I
to.
think, under your leadership.
Yeah.
Truly. And it was a launching pad for so many names that we know and love now, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Right.
that all began under your
That
leadership.
that
It's-
was there were certainly Jalopnik has always kind of been that place, but I think like one of the things that I've been most proud of is like I think really reaching into like some obscure places to bring people into the business that I think are talented and good. And it's like that's like it's like looking at the God, who's the guy who's like the San Francisco coach who was like the West Coast offense like back in the 80s, and you would look at his coaching tree and it was like every current NFL head coach had like some connection to this guy. It was Bill something. And it's like that's kind of like I feel like that, like look around at all these different publications, you're like, oh yeah, like I hired that guy to do a freelance thing, or hired her to shoot some photos or whatever. And it's like so many people now come up to me and they're like, oh, you were my first paid whatever, like writing job or paid photography thing or whatever. And it's like I don't remember that at all, but that's fantastic.
You are welcome. But yeah, it all started there. Well, and I mean, I think without knowing it, you were like molding yourself into the ultimate, Jalopnik editor, because how many other people were they going to find who had the whole site memorized?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I did.
You're the guy.
I did have a freakish dedication to Jalopnik at one point.
the knowledge. Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
You're like, I've been studying for this job most of my adult life.
Yeah. I know everything. I know everything about Mike Spinelli. What do you want to know?
You're like,
memorized
go.
his going away post.
But fast forward to 2025 and things have changed so much.
Yeah. So we actually raised the money and we tried to buy Jalopnik. We had put all these ideas together about like what we would do differently and how we would kind of rebuild it in our ideal world or whatever. And that ended up fizzling for reasons that I don't understand. I think they ended up selling it for way less than we were offering.
Really?
You're like, I think they sense, but okay.
I think they kind of ninth dimensional chest it. We could get into it, but it's a very weird story. Where I was like, at multiple points. It was like, what is happening here? What are you trying to do? Can you tell me what you're trying to do, and I'll help you do it?
You're like, I'm so fascinated. At the same time, I'm just but I'm also...
I wish I wasn't involved with this because this would be so fun to watch. But yeah, so we did that, and then we got this opportunity to build our own thing in Alloy, which like through that Jalopnik process, and then like through this early process with Alloy, like we really got a chance to interrogate the entire business model. And I think like going back to Auto Week and Jalopnik and then Gizmodo and kind of like seeing what's happening at different like bigger publishers outside of Auto even, we came to this conclusion that like the actual issues that are facing a lot of these publications are structural. And I think like they're all related to this early 2000s business model, which is like massive audience and extremely low cost ads. And then like, if you can get to a certain audience number, like even though you're not getting paid very much for individual like clicks or views or whatever, it adds up over time, which is like, it doesn't. And it really hasn't for a very long time. I think like, there was a period like in the early 2000s, early aughts maybe, where it was like, Vox and Slate and all these like different companies were raising tons of money, and they're like, oh, we have $1 billion valuation. Like everybody has to get it. It's like an AI thing now. It's like everybody, it's like,
Sure.
like the metaverse or whatever. Remember that, like 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Hello, so many
But
years
it's
ago. Yeah.
Guess what? None of
yeah,
it's real, guys.
yeah. But it was the. I mean, I have a whole theory on why that's happening, but
Yeah.
Go
well, it's
on.
just like
Hey, we got time.
there's just not a lot of places to put money anymore. So there's not a
Ah.
lot of like like you used to be able to buy bonds against a freeway or whatever,
Okay.
like highway project. You used to
Sure.
be able to buy like but there's not a lot of places that offer like big explosive returns as an
Yeah.
investor.
Back when we would invest in infrastructure. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. But you used to do a lot of that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
rich
yeah.
people used to buy a lot of construction bonds and like
Sure.
municipal bonds and stuff. But now it's like I read something yesterday where it's like the entire economy is like Nvidia and I forgot what the other company was, investing in AI and then reinvesting in data centers, and like it's like if one of those companies falters, like we are in such a bad position.
Right.
But it's like every couple years you have to have like a hot thing to invest in.
Sure.
It's like
Sure.
it was blogs, and then it was social media, or maybe it was social media then blogs. Anyway, there's like
One of
a
the
new thing. Then it's like
potato,
crypto, NFT, metaverse,
Yeah.
AI. Like that's kind of like what is making the economy happen now,
Uh-huh.
which is terrifying. But
Yeah, remember
but
the
anyway,
NFT
like
days? That was wild.
oh man, it was so fun. I was at RM hawking NFTs for
Really?
a minute there, and I was like, guys, we're gonna get burned on this real bad.
Ooh.
And
You're like, this
Yeah, we
is
did.
going to go poorly. Just
it's like this is not real. We can't put our name on this. But yeah,
Oh, man.
but yeah, so the that era, I think, like that kind of optimism about like, oh, if we can get to these mass numbers, then we can continue to grow, and we'll figure out the profitability end of this eventually. And I think there were a bunch of years kind of in that interim where it's like they were, ad rates were higher. They were selling a lot of like direct and like sponsored content type stuff. And you could kind of keep it afloat, and a lot of them did, and a lot of them made a lot of money. But like we've been seeing for the last like 15 years, this like slow, or like it goes in big chunks, like big layoff, everybody survives for another 5 years, big layoff, everybody survives for another 5 years. But it's like, I remember having this conversation on Auto Week in 2015 or 16, but it's like every year they want more impressions and they want to pay less for them.
Yeah.
Eventually this model exhausts itself.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Yeah.
sustainable.
it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
right.
And I think unfortunately that's kind of where we are now. And I think like if you look at the environment, you have these three kind of main constituencies in digital publishing. We have the publisher, you have the marketer slash advertiser or whatever, and then you have the reader. And it's like the experience as a reader is, as everyone knows, awful. Like if you go to try to read a website today, the ad experience, to say nothing of the content experience. I mean, there are
Right.
some, and this is I should say too, it's like everybody in this business, from the ownership down to like the individual writers, are, it's like, I'm sure some of the people on the ownership side are evil people, but like I think most of them are trying to like make this work, and putting a good faith effort into it. But I think like a lot of them are stuck in a cycle with this business model where you have to produce a bunch of kind of mass market, I would say like commodified content to get to a certain like SEO position, to get to like a share of traffic that is going to like make this little tiny individual spend on each ad. Like you're going to get to that size audience that's going to like eventually all those little pennies add up, and then you get to a revenue number, and then you have the actual publisher kind of like they're kind of facing that that diminishing returns thing where it's like they're making more and more traffic, they're making less and less revenue every year. But anyway, like if you're the reader, I was like, if I could just digress for 1 second, but I was reading this, like, sorry, it's like again,
That's
but
the
I was
name of the
reading
game
this.
here.
I was reading this profile in GQ. It's a good magazine, I think.
Yeah.
Um, and it was this Walmart ad started showing up on the page, and it would like hover over an entire like 2 paragraph block of text,
I have
and
had
there's
that
no
experience too.
yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
like no way to dismiss it, no way to so you had to refresh the page to dismiss the ad, and then you scroll down a little bit more, and it's 2 more paragraphs are covered by the wall, and then you'd have to refresh it. It was like,
Mhm.
it's like, why is there a GQ ad or a Walmart ad on GQ? Like that,
Right.
it's like
That
the
doesn't make sense.
flagship.
That's a
Yeah.
good question.
Uh, why is it broken in a way that like makes it impossible to
Mhm.
dismiss? And then like, why has no one at GQ fixed this? Like, this is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
this is a miserable experience as a reader. The
Yeah.
ad, like Walmart doesn't want that ad on GQ.
Yeah.
Like, it's not doing anything for Walmart. They don't want to pay for that ad.
And they don't want to
And
be
it's all
irritating you where your only experience of the brand is like, gosh, it was so annoying.
that sucks. Yeah, I hate Walmart.
Right.
It's like,
They're paying to irritate people. Like that's
yeah,
Yeah.
but like
counterintuitive.
that's the experience of using the internet now. And I think
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there are a lot of pages where it's like impossible to see what you're reading. And it's like
Yeah.
you give up. It's like,
Yeah.
Jalopnik was like that when I was there. There was like the number one complaint that we would get from readers was like, it is physically hard for me to read this page.
Mm.
Like, it's making my
Right.
phone hot in my hands
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I was trying to load so much shit.
Well, then you get
Um,
those ones where it's like moving and the ad is the fixed content and the article you're trying to read is the mobile. It's just like,
scrolling,
this is insane.
it's maddening. It's maddening, and it's like
That's the
again,
word.
there's these the three constituencies are like the publisher is not making enough money, the reader is having this incredibly frustrating experience that like just really is like we don't care about you at all.
Right.
And then
No,
the worst part of it,
that's the message.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, and the worst part too is like if all that was true, you could have like an evil little business if the marketers were still like, okay, we'll pay for that, but like the marketers don't want to pay for it either. Like they don't like it either, and it's like one of the discussions I had really early on with one of these marketers was like, we will continue to do this. It still makes sense for our business. Like we still sell, we still do like sales promotion stuff on there. But like we will pay exactly what we think it's worth, which is almost nothing. And it's like, so like all three people who are making this little industry happen hate it. Like this sucks for all three of them. Like you ask anyone involved, they're like, yeah, this is terrible. Like I read websites, this is awful.
Right.
And so
So
we
nobody's winning.
yeah, no, like no one's happy, but because of the way it's set up and because of the way these companies operate, like their only or like at least their big source of revenue now is this display ads that are bought programmatically, via a third party auction. And the idea of going into a boardroom or going to ownership and saying like we should get rid of this part of it is like you might as well shut the whole thing down. Like it'd be really hard to do. It'd be really hard to like turn that ship. So like our position is if we start from here, is start just building a reader experience where it's like, let's get something that readers are super excited about, that looks good, that doesn't hurt your eyes, it's not distracting, like all the things, and I think like on a content level, like I said, there's a lot of great stuff being written on almost any website that you can think of,
Sure.
regardless of the ad experience, regardless of who owns it or whatever. There are good journalists doing good work on almost all those sites. But I think like the game that you have to play to rank in Google, the game that you have to play as far as we used to call it like curiosity gap headline writing, where it's like basically like a clickbait type thing.
That's
like
the
if you want,
official. I like that packaged term though
Curiosity
for it.
gap.
It's much more
it's
friendly
like,
and
no,
approachable.
yeah, this is not clickbait. We're just creating a little curiosity gap.
We're just
Um,
engaging with our audience.
yeah, but I think like that's like building a 100 page slideshow where like every slide reloads the ads on the page. Like
Hurts.
it's just like you got to do that stuff because that's the business model. Like that's like what I was saying about the Jalopnik thing is it's like that's the model, and if you want to keep these companies afloat on that model, you are incentivized to do a bunch of stuff that you probably wouldn't do naturally. You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't say like, this is valuable journalism. This is fulfilling to me as a writer. This is going to connect with a reader or whatever. It's just like, it's like you wouldn't write the article that is, this is what your tire pressure should be. That's just like meant to be a response to the Google query of what's my tire pressure supposed to be. You wouldn't do that. Like,
that would be the entire focus of the article. Yeah.
Yeah, like you wouldn't write that article. But it's
Right.
like, so our proposition is like I said, build this user experience, build this reader experience, and then it's like write stuff that readers are going to value, and they're going to feel like, oh, I learned something, or I got smarter, or whatever. So like we're lower volume. We're a little bit, I think, slower to the punch in every case. But it's like I said, we're really trying to really hit that next level of like, the way that I've explained it before is like, if there's 5 people sitting around talking about like the new BMW M5 or whatever, one of those people knows what factory it's being built in, and like that's the guy we want to talk to. Like that's the reader for us. It's like the weirdo. But it's like you
Dedicated
remember,
enthusiast.
yeah, but it's just like you remember, you can everybody who has read car stuff can point to a moment reading an article where they were like, either that was the most entertaining thing I've ever read, or I learned something that has stuck with me for the rest of my life.
Sure.
And it's like, that should be like what you aspire to as a publisher is like producing something like that. So that's the plan. And then I think like, we have some kind of creative ways to bring in revenue. We have obviously like the regular stuff that everybody does, like the merch, memberships, live events, like that kind of stuff. But I think like we're also offering like a quarterly sponsorship thing that has like been really well received by automakers. I think like our pitch is that you can land a kind of suite of content on the site, and we'll trickle it out like in the order that you want it to trickle out. It's like the problem that a lot of marketers now are having is like you used to be able to do like a campaign on social media where it's like we're releasing a new car, new technology or whatever, and like over the course of 6 months we'll like trickle this messaging out. But now everything is served algorithmically. They have no control over what order things come out.
Sure.
And it's like,
Right.
It's like totally jumbled, like if a reader would ever see it at all. Anyway, so it's like this solves that problem for them. It seems to be something people are really excited about. We'll see. I mean, it's like everybody's really excited in the pitch, Right. It's when it's check time, we'll see who's really excited. But it's,
And you'll really know.
yeah, but it's been awesome. It's, I think like, I guess like I said, it's been very well received on the pitch side. Anytime I have an idea, there's like a 6-month period where you're like, how good of an idea could this be if I came up with it? And like, or if like, in this case, like Fernando, my partner, came up with a bunch of this stuff. And it's like, if us two morons think this is a good idea, like we're going to need some external validation for this. But we've gotten a lot of it. And I think like, I'm sitting here and you guys are in the same position, but you're watching a lot of your friends and colleagues and people who you know and admire either getting laid off or having their like career prospects diminished or whatever. And it's like,
Right.
These are some of the most talented, hardworking people that I've come across. And I feel like if someone doesn't try something different, really different, then it's like, it's almost like giving up. You know what I mean? Like if it's like, we're going to just keep banging our head against the same old model that everybody knows is failing. Everybody can feel it collapsing.
Yeah.
It's like somebody has to try something different. And like, if it
If
doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you have to try. Like someone has to, and maybe this is not the idea that like solves the problem, but it's like, it's like you have to try something. And I think like, like I said, I feel really good about it. I feel like everybody who we've talked to has been excited, and We'll see what happens. But
So
yeah, it's been
give us
good.
an example of your content. Like what's something that's just going to kill on the new site?
Yeah, I mean that'll be actually really interesting because I don't have like Jalopnik. It took 6 months for me to figure out like what was really going to hit.
Okay.
Mm.
But we have a bunch of really good stuff. Then I guess I give you like the preview, but like Tim Stevens is writing something about OTA, like over the air updates,
Yeah.
and how like he was a gaming journalist in kind of the early 2000s and at the beginning part of his career, and he watched that process of like shipping unfinished products and then like updating them down the road like ruin gaming in a way that it hasn't really recovered from.
Oh.
And he's like the pattern is like this eerily um, recognizable pattern with cars, and I think like I've had that experience. I've had other people like, tell me that they're having the same experience. And it was like, Tim is Tim. And I think one of our things with this is like, Tim is somebody who has genuine insight, who can tell you because like he saw it firsthand. And I think like
Right.
for me, that is one, that is going to be really useful information. I think it's going to be very illuminating, and I think will like cause some discussion in the car business. Um, we have a bunch of stuff like John Volkler. I don't know if you know John, but he's a brilliant. He's been following EVs since before anyone was following EVs, and I think like he's got a really cool piece coming about analyzing cash burn for all like the EV startups and like just figuring out kind of where they are, which is like
What the real story is.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Which
mean
I've never
really like
seen before. I don't know what that
yeah
is, where people stand and like kind of what we're looking
Well,
at.
yeah and
especially across the board to see,
Yeah.
because I think we've all watched, they're not all on the same cycle. And I think you sort of get like an article will come out and say like, all right, they have X amount of cash left, or they have this many
yeah
months left. But to see it
yeah
all spelled out, especially from somebody who has lived that cycle in a different industry,
Right.
would be fascinating.
yeah, and I think that our thing on this is like the gap that I see is like, again, because of like this programmatic and kind of display based model, it's like it's very hard. And I saw this as an editor at Jalopnik, so it's like I had people on staff who I think could write those types of pieces, but it's like if my job is to get to 30 million page views or whatever impressions this month, it's like, do I want someone to take 4 days off to write this really good story that maybe well read or maybe won't, or am I going to make them write up 10 posts about a viral video, about different viral videos or whatever? And it's like
Right.
that's an unfortunate calculation to have to make, but it's like
Yeah.
that's kind of where I think the gap is in the market is around that kind of stuff. I think like we also I like to talk a lot about like the journalism and like the analysis part of this, but I think like one of the things that like really differentiates us is like Fernando, the designer, is like full-time designer. He's creating custom art on the page. All the like everything that goes up has these like incredible visuals, and I think like there's an opportunity to like tell stories through visuals that is also like, unfortunately, again, is like because of the way that car sites are made.
Yeah.
If you go from car site to car site, you're going to see a lot of the same images because
Sure.
it's just like, what did you get with the press packet for this press release, and like get it up as quickly as possible, and then you get a lot of the same stuff. So I think like
Yeah.
I'm super proud and excited about the art and the level of like design thinking that's going into this. So yeah, I think it's going to be very different. I will say like the site is in beta now, and I've been looking at it, and it's like I've never seen anything that looks like this on the internet before. It's like a totally different experience, which maybe people like or maybe they will hate. I don't know.
No, I
It's
think
like
there's a huge appetite for just that. Really.
Yeah.
Especially the quality, and
Yeah.
like I liked the way that you described it, and that it was, news and analytics from like for the enthusiast, or kind of from the enthusiast perspective. I think that has fallen by the wayside, like you were saying,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you as the editor, your calculation is like, I have to get the clicks.
yeah.
and that changes the content. And then the people that are sort of the true enthusiasts are like, "Where's the meat?" And this
Yeah.
sounds like you're
Yeah. I
delivering.
mean, and
We're
again,
tired
it's
of
like
being talked down to, I mean, that's
yeah,
right. It's
that is like something I don't like to say, but it's like so many of the sites that you read, not just in automotive or whatever, the assumption, and I think like it's this way on social, it's this way in video too, but like the assumption is that the audience are idiots, and it's like
Right.
that
Well, and
sucks.
also doesn't like that they're not going to read beyond the headlines, so
Yeah,
you don't really have to worry about it. Like, there's not going to be that much attention to the actual article anyway.
yeah, that's just it's like not a nice way to start up your relationship of like, I assume you're not actually going to read
Right.
this, and I assume you're not going to understand it even if you did. So why am I bothering with you?
Right.
yeah.
Why
It's
don't
not
we just
nice.
end this now? Yeah.
That's
Like,
not nice
what
at
do we do?
all. Yeah,
No.
So it's
It doesn't feel good on any
alloymag.com.
of us.
yeah. It's laimag.com.
.com.
And it's in beta. I think we have a soft target in mind of like end of October.
Okay.
But this like because this is a extremely like high risk situation where it's like it's got to deliver on all this crazy stuff that I just told you. Like,
You
we
got
will
one shot,
not.
man.
Yeah, we will not push it until it's right. So like I
Or
think
should you? Yeah.
yeah, I think we're still gonna be like that last week in October to go live.
Okay.
But caveat of I can always hold it back if we need to keep tweaking it. But I think
Right.
you can keep up with it. We have an Instagram page up where we're upgrading or updating regularly at alloy_mag. And there was a newsletter sign up, but that's now down because we've pushed the site live behind a password. So like our sign up sheet is now behind the password as well. But yeah, it should be a couple weeks.
Excellent.
And we'll see what
Well,
happens.
exciting.
There's a great manifesto, for lack of a better term, on Instagram, right? That
Yeah.
scrolls through like Star Wars, right? And really talks about what you're doing,
Yeah.
what you're all about. That I think really sums it up well. So check that out. Good place to start
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, that's like how you know you're dealing with a crazy person when they start putting manifestos.
It wasn't in
out there the world,
Sharpie, Rory. So you got
but-
that.
Yeah,
going
no,
for
it's
you.
true. That's
Kidding,
true.
That's it.
I did.
Crazy
Fernando-
good. It's hyphenated. It's not.
It looked weirder when I did it, but Fernando made it look nice.
Yeah. So it's alloy_mag on Instagram.
Instagram. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
And there will
so-
be, did you say there will be subscription options?
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of different subscription options. One of which I think is going to come with me making a custom car out of steel by hand. So please really think about if you want me to, how many of those you want me to be making. I put it in there and Fernando was like, "Are you sure about that?" And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So
I feel like this is like the story of the Bombas founder, where he's like, when we sell, X thousand pairs, I'll get a tattoo of Bombas. I'm like, guess who now has a tattoo of Bombas?
yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
another
so
option for you, Rory.
Yeah. I mean, I will be very happy if we sell that many, but I will not be very happy making little tiny scale cars
Right.
with my welder. I actually tattoo. So remember the Volkswagen thing where they said that they were going to change the name to Volkswagen on April 1st and everybody fell for it. I wrote an article on Jalopnik that said if they actually change their name to Volkswagen, I will drive to Herndon, Virginia, Volkswagen's headquarters, and get a tattoo like at Volkswagen of a Volkswagen. Like I'll get the Volkswagen logo tattooed on my person somewhere. And everybody got so mad at me because of course I was right. And everybody else had it confirmed by Volkswagen PR. But yeah, it was not a good weekend in the publishing chats for me. We're so mad. Anyway, sorry, another digression.
You escaped is the moral of the story.
Yes. Clean as a whistle, we got.
You were right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're so excited for Alloy, and like
Thank
I
you.
know at least for this corner of the internet, I think it's going to fill, the enthusiast needs and wants that we've all been sort of like wishing for. So I'm
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can, if you can build a sustainable publishing business on the internet in 2025, you really did something. I think like that's our goal, and we don't have huge ambitions to be the next $1 billion company, but I think like we can, if we do it the right way and really respect our readers and our partners, I think we can build something that people really value, and I think that's the goal. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's a
When you
worthy
get that,
endeavor.
when you get that valuation, we'll celebrate with a meal of swan.
Right.
Gonna get a swan tattoo.
Only the
we're
precious
combined.
swan.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. This
I
is
know.
endangered, right? It does makes it taste a little better. Yeah.
Be quiet. We're celebrating. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, on
What a
that
pleasure
note,
what
I know.
a
I was
pleasure to
going to
talk
say,
with you.
Yeah.
tell
This is
tell us
super
where
fun.
where can we find you on Instagram? Obviously,
I'm
alloy_mag, and then
yeah.
the website is just
Is
alloymag.com.
lamag.com, no underscore.
Okay.
And then I'm on Instagram at Rory_Carroll. And I think all the other ones are Rory_Carroll too. I have like a dead Twitter account.
You
And then
and most of the other
yeah.
people.
I used to have a lot of fun on there. But I just don't find myself doing it as much.
Yeah.
I feel like Joel, when we had Joel Feder on, he was saying the same thing. Like that was where he
Yeah.
got his start, and it was a good launch pad.
Yep. Yeah. No, for sure. RIP.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I really appreciate you having us on, or having me on, and love talking about
The
Alloy.
Royal
But
West.
me and Fern.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, we're so excited for you guys and can't wait to check it out. And we wish you an amazing launch. So we'll be keeping an eye on the Instagram account.
Yeah.
Excited for the launch, soft and otherwise. And
Yeah. And please come back, 6 months
I know.
down the,
I will
down the
do
road,
this
okay?
anytime. Let me know
awesome.
whenever you need a
Yeah.
late ad.
Yeah.
Hit me up.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, this was really fun. Well,
Give me
thank you so much for
15
joining
minutes
us.
notice. Yeah, thank you.
I'm like, and go. We're like, we started recording 10 minutes ago. Can you join us?
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. Well, on
thanks
that
so
note,
much.
it was such
Thank
a
you.
treat to have you on, and we're excited for what you're doing, and look forward to enjoying it. And we're That Car Show, so always be driving, and we'll see you next week.